What's up guys, it's Nofsky with Academia Audio, and today I'm going to show you exactly how I process a sound using saturation and distortion. Let's get it. Alrighty guys, so that was the song and project that we will be working in today. Now this will be a 7-part series, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how I go about processing any kind of sound, bass, lead, melody, my exact process, and today we're going to focus on saturation and distortion. Before we start processing the sound, I do want to quickly explain exactly what saturation and distortion is. Saturation is the introduction of additional harmonic frequencies to change or fill a sound. So in a nutshell, all we're doing when we add saturation is we're taking that sound and we're exciting it in a sense to fill it out more. Now distortion, in my simple definition, is saturation on steroids. So if all that was gibberish, all saturation is you're exciting a sound to make it more warm, more full, and fill it out more, and then distortion is an extreme version of that. So now that we know exactly what saturation and distortion is, let's go ahead and dive in and see how we're going to use them. So we are going to be working on the lead of this sound, and this is what it sounds like just straight out of Serum. So it's alright, it's not bad, it's a pretty cool sound. Now we are going to beef this sucker up with a little bit of saturation and distortion. So there is a million kajillion different saturation and distortion plugins. My two favorite that I typically use in every single project is Saturn and Decapitator. Now, typically when I go about using Saturn versus Decapitator, Saturn is more subtle in my opinion, and that's a whole nother point right there. Just a side note, when you are going about processing your sounds, whether you're using saturation or anything, less is more. You don't want to put a plugin on and be able to drastically hear a massive difference. It's the combination of several plugins all working together strategically to get that end result that you're looking for. Now, Decapitator, on the other hand, I typically use that when I'm really trying to heavily distort a sound. So let's go ahead and apply some saturation to this lead right here. So I have Saturn here, and with this plugin, I know it decently well, but typically what I like to do is I'll go to a preset in the color section, and I'll find one of these, and then I'll just kind of tweak it from there. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the saturate and color. Another really cool thing about Saturn is it is a multi-band saturation plugin, meaning that I have the ability to create bands, and then I can isolate certain sections and saturate them entirely solo. So this is one of my go-to presets, the saturate and color. It adds a little gentle saturation, then you also get a little boost in the mid and treble section. So let's go ahead and listen to the sound, and let's start applying some saturation. So something I'm hearing is I think I want to add a band about right here and go ahead and saturate this top section while leaving the lows alone. So I went ahead and went with the warm tube, and I'm saturating everything above about 300 frequencies. I'm going to go ahead and bring the presence up just ever so slightly, and let's go ahead and A and B the sound and hear the difference. So you can just really feel that it just warmed up the sound. It really excited it. It made it sound a little more fuller, and we are ready to move on to our next step. But for those that do have Decapitator, I am going to show you how I go about processing the sound using Decapitator. So I went ahead and went with the beefy preset. I cranked the drive up a lot, I made it a little brighter, and then I dialed down the wet knob. And that is a huge tip alone, is something that I like to do when I'm doing distortion is I'll go ahead and increase the drive, and then I'll dial it back here as opposed to dialing the drive down. I'll dial down the dry to wet knob a little bit, and I just feel that as a whole it creates a far better effect than if I were to dial back the drive knob. This is without Decapitator. And and this is with. So as you can hear, again, it just created another level to the sound. This is what's going to take your sounds from sounding like they were made in a bedroom to like, oh my gosh, this guy's using analog gear and it sounds really expensive and professional. So before I wrap this up, I do want to mention saturation and distortion are what I use on the first step of the processing chain, and there is a reason to that. As I explained before, it excites the sound. It takes the tones and it makes it more exciting, adding additional harmonic frequencies. So the reason why we put it first is when we go to the next part of the processing chain, like reductive EQ, then we can shape the sound and put the sound in a pocket and having more control, as opposed to if we did that first and then added distortion, we would have a bunch of additional frequencies and our EQ cuts wouldn't be as powerful as if they came after the saturation and distortion. That pretty much wraps up the video, guys. I hope this inspired you. I hope this made going about processing a sound a little less intimidating. If you want to continue the process, please check out our next video where we take it one step closer to getting that professional processed sound. In this song, we are using our own sample packs and serum presets, so be sure to go check those out down below. Feel free to give this video a like, share, and subscribe. You guys have a blessed day. Peace.